Hey guys, it's Lindsay with your July 2025 reading for Earth Signs. I'm just gonna bless the cards real quick. I ask that any and all messages that come through the cards come through with clarity and understanding, and only for the highest good of all those involved. Okay. So I've been doing something a little different with these readings. As always, take what only aligns for you and leave the rest, as I was saying. So I've been doing something a little different with these readings. I've been reading from the Oracle deck, and I wanted to start off the general reading for the Earth Signs with the Oracle deck, the Rumi Oracle deck by Alana Fairchild. This was my first deck that I ever received or bought. So let's do a general reading for the Earth Signs, July 2025 general reading. Ooh, I'm definitely getting stomach, which is a very specific message for somebody, something with somebody's stomach either being upset or sick. And it's specifically around anxiety. So I think if you have been having issues, try to notice whether or not that is around, getting anxious about certain things. And when you do, change it up. I definitely see changing the energy as far as maybe going for a walk or exercising or doing something to change the repetitiveness of the anxious thoughts. And I think the way it is showing up energetically, it will help with that upset kind of feeling in the stomach. Because if you can't think clearly, if your thoughts are blocked by anxiety and your gut knowing is blocked by anxiety, you can't make clear decisions. So that's always one very simple place you can start with. Let's try. That's a very specific message that was coming through. Okay. Let's try Earth Signs, July 2025, Earth Signs. There we go. One. Okay, so it's funny because this card, I've gotten this card before. It's the 1 card, but it's the number 6. But it's this really beautiful. So the art is by an artist named Rasuli. And he creates this fantastical, spiritual iconography that's really beautiful. Let's see if we can get anything else for Earth Signs for July 2025. 1. Wow, you and water are on the same path. Well, not necessarily, you and Pisces. Let's put it that way. So this is 1, which is 2 to 1 is sacred union, and which is literally the other card that Earth Signs received, and I do believe the water signs received sacred union as well. So it definitely seems like a lot of the energy for this month is coming into sacred union and or partnership with somebody. This definitely feels obviously romantic. We're not talking friendship. We're not talking anything like that. This is a lot of the energy for the month is coming into divine romantic partnership for a lot of people is what I'm seeing. And for the Earth Signs, so we're going to start with Taurus and see what happens. Taurus for the month of July 2025. I do feel, Taurus, that you, for some reason, you're focused on family, specifically if you have children. I'm seeing children. Here's the Ace of Cups. So that's like emotional range, emotional holding, not necessarily control, but being able to hold emotions. And there is some type of difficulty, or not difficulty, but differing opinions is what I'm getting on emotions and or emotions in the family unit, specifically around children is what I'm getting, Taurus. So it's almost like differing thoughts on how to either raise the children in regards to their emotions, or how to respond to the children in regards to their emotions. That's very much what I'm getting. So that's a really interesting and specific message. So I'm probably thinking that that's going to be, you know, for one person in particular. But what's coming through for that message is speaking. It is very clear speaking and intonation. And I do think that, like, children can read energy. They can, and whether or not they can conceptually understand it, they can read the energy of a home. So if there is any tension in the home, particularly between you know, the adults in the home, the children can read it. And so the energy that's coming through is like kind of, you know, speaking honestly, but at a child's level, you know, so that they can understand in a way that they can also share their feelings. So that's going to be a very specific message for someone. Princess of Pentacles, Five of Cups. What I'm getting in some ways, Taurus, is like part of whatever this emotional kind of like focus is that in partnership, one person is either working more outside the home, their goals are more externally associated, while the other person is more internally associated, so towards the home and things like that. And I think that's where the difficulty is coming up, right? So you're getting the Five of Cups, you're getting the emotions facing two different ways, right? So it's that dichotomy that's really causing this emotional split and strain within the home. And so how do you go about bridging that gap? How do you go about sharing that emotional load, you know? And these are all questions that I feel like the energy is coming up with. And that requires being able to talk to each other, right? That requires being able to have a adult conversation, not just with the children, you know, like not just being allowed to conversate with the children about their emotions, but being able to have that partnership conversation very clearly and be like, you know, these are our goals as partners. These are our goals together. These are our goals separately. And I think that's kind of the energy that's coming through Taurus right now is, how do you manage together and separately around the home, particularly if you have a family unit with children, right? So just be aware of that this month it's like that push of energy. And I do think that the way the message is coming through, there is an opportunity around conversation is what I'm getting, an opportunity around conversation. Okay, where are we at? Capricorn for July 2025. Capricorn for July 2025. Capricorn. And also, Taurus, the other thing is that I'm getting, if there needs to be conversation and for some reason you're holding back your truth, that also needs to be addressed. You know, what is the reasoning behind you holding back your truth? Is it that you actually feel unsafe in holding back, you know, like sharing your truth, or is it more of an internal holding back, you know, not where safety is not an issue, but like, you know, you're afraid of, you know, change or things like that, or just being honest, you know. So that's really what I'm getting for Taurus. Is that Judgment. Okay, we're in Capricorn. Where are we? We're in Capricorn. This is Taurus again. So this is what I was just talking about that came up at the end. That's not Capricorn, that's Taurus. It's the Judgment. Okay, Taurus. We're all done. Capricorn. We're not going to take this one because this one's the star and that's my card. So that's my card. I know whose is whose when it comes up, right? And Capricorn, you're in this interesting boat too. 5 of Wands and 10 of Swords. So it's at a cross point, very much like Taurus, right? So this is all romantic relationships, and it's giving this kind of like tension energy, this depression energy. I'm going to be straightforward. That's what it's giving in regards to relationship, Capricorn. So it's like this heaviness that's happening here, okay? Specifically around the home and romance. And so for you, 6 of Cups. So you see there's 2 cups that are full and the rest of the cups are empty, right? So for you, Capricorn, your question is more between partnership, between partnership, how you are managing and how you're reigniting that flame, right? So if you are intent upon remaining, if you are in a relationship and you are intent upon remaining with this person for an extended period of time, it's very much giving that energy. How do you reignite the flame, right? How do you show passion for each other again if you have been together for a long time? You know, so for me, the way that this is coming through is an opportunity to try different things together. You know, really put yourself out of a box where, like, say, you know, you order pizza on a Friday night together and that's your thing. Okay, we'll go out to dinner or go on a different date or learn something together. I had said this months and months ago, and I think it was to you, Capricorn, as well. You know, take each other on a different date so you can see each other in a different atmosphere. And I always, this is so funny because I'm pretty sure I said this. This was literally the same words I said. Like, you ever see those, when you go like axe throwing on a date? You ever see that? So that's kind of like what I'm seeing, like something so out of balance and like off kilter to what you guys would normally do in your relationship. I think it might be interesting and almost fun to see how, you know, the other person responds if they're open to it, you know, and I think it would help to kind of like reignite that flame. Now, that's not to say if you are in a relationship that is constantly causing you this pain, right? That's more of a self-evaluation on whether or not you should remain in that relationship, right? So, and that's up to you. That's your real question to yourself. If you are constantly in this state and, you know, it's not intentionally a healthy relationship, that is the question, right? But if you're at crossroads and, you know, you do see yourself with this person, it's kind of kicking yourselves out of the crossroads, right? And showing up together in a new way. That's what I'm getting, Capricorn. Okay. We're going to do Virgo for the month of July 2025. Virgo for the month of July 2025. Virgo, where are you? Oh, okay. Queen of Swords. You're seeking Virgo, you're seeking something outside of yourself, which is really interesting because Virgo tends to be like a very homey sign. They tend to really enjoy being in the home and around the home, and like comfort is very big for Virgo. Most earth signs, it is the home is a very central place for earth signs. Obviously they're earth, right? But there's this seeking outside of yourself, Virgo, that's happening right now, and I do see that around the emotional fulfillment. Right. So again, with earth signs this month, we're really talking about relationships, right? So, and with Virgo, you're talking about seeking emotional fulfillment outside of yourself within a relationship, within a partnership. So if you are single, seeking that in somebody else. If you are in a relationship, finding that in your partner and that fulfillment, which is, you know, if that is what you are finding, that's beautiful, you know. And I do get, it's almost like finding home in another person is what I'm getting, Virgo. And it's a really beautiful, warm feeling. And there is something else at the bottom of the heart space that's coming in, Virgo. It's almost like an icy feeling. I don't understand what exactly this is, but let me just tap in and see. It's uncomfortable. Let's see. You got two cards. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, Virgo, what I'm getting is it's almost, okay, as you're in a relationship or you're proceeding into a relationship at this point, or you're seeking relationship, emotional fulfillment outside of yourself, it's almost like your third eye and your intuition is being blocked. where you would normally be highly intuitive and be able to connect with the answers and the messages, you're having a hard time really grounding in. And I think the way that this is showing up is because that you are connecting externally on the physical plane to somebody else. And so the main focus of your energy is to that other person at this point, right? You're binding ties with this other person. And so it's the energy having one focus cannot like really open up to this higher knowing that you're so used to having, the high priestess, right? And I don't think that it's like a permanent roadblock, but I do think, like if you are having a hard time tapping in Virgo, just know that because your energy is kind of trying to find an equilibrium with this new partner or the person coming in, that's where it's coming from. Now if it continues, I would really kind of work on that and do whatever tactics that you normally would to drop into your intuition, whether that's meditating or journaling or whatever you do. But I do think because you are kind of balancing externally with another person, that's where this kind of intuitive block is happening. So not anything to really worry about, just kind of keep an eye out for that. So like in my air reading, we're gonna do a totem and animal card for my earth signs for the month of July 2025. Totem animal card for the earth signs of July 2025. We're gonna see what. Oh, you got two. Air got two as well. Lizard. We're all getting reptiles. What is going on? The air signs also. They got the air signs. What did we get? We got a cobra. So you got a lizard and a moth, which is interesting because the lizards will eat the moth, right? They feed upon the moth, right? But it's like that sustaining energy that's happening here. So you have this very reptilian predator, and then you have this moth that's very good at disguising itself, right? And its surroundings. So it's almost like you're in this seeking energy. You're seeking for that sustenance. Earth signs, you want to know what is going to sustain you, and you're not quite there because that sustenance is hiding itself very well. And what I get in particular is around relationships. So you're still working through things around relationships and how to sustain yourself as an individual and together in a partnership, so that's very much the energy that's showing up for this month. Again, my name is Lindsey Rose. This is Storyteller Tarot. If you enjoyed this reading, please like, comment, or subscribe. And if you would like a personal reading, please check the link in bio. Thank you.